Hi, everyone. Today we are going to be sharing with you yet another question that was submitted to us, and I'm super excited to answer this question. Now, I don't have a name to go with this one. If I do, I usually give a first name. This question did not come with a name, so we'll just call you Anonymous. Thank you, Anonymous, for this question. I'm going to quote unquote this question here. So I'm curious why you decided to become an indie author, an independent author. Have you been traditionally published in the past? And if so, can you explain us the main difference to you as an author between the two? That's a loaded question. I could do a whole series of videos on that question alone. I'm going to try to keep it brief. Have I been a traditional published author? Yes. Originally, initially, we went with traditional publishers. Then we went with what is considered smaller publishers, smaller traditional publishers. Um, at that point, we were about 7 years, maybe 8 years into our book publishing experience. And we had developed a lot of skills by this point. We had a knowledge of the industry. We had we had developed a lot of skills in regards to, graphics and behind the scenes metadata type stuff. And we had grown as authors in regards to marketing, being self-marketing authors. All authors are self-marketing authors. Very, very rare that you get support from a publisher beyond the initial release announcements and things like that. So in that case, we're all self-marketers. And so as we developed these skills, we realized we needed a traditional publisher less and less. Now, at the same time, the whole industry had evolved. 20 years ago, the industry was completely different, right? Now everything is online, ebooks and audiobooks and all these different ways of publishing books beyond traditional ways of publishing. The whole industry has evolved to the point where traditional publishers have become redundant for authors who have developed the skills to be able to do certain things themselves, or have the ability to outsource certain activities such as like uh, book cover design or editing and proofreading and layout and formatting and all these different stages of producing a book. So, some people outsource that. Some people hire marketers and agents and PR agents and stuff to get them the gigs and all of that kind of thing. And if that's where you're going, that's fine too. If you're willing to do it yourself, like to, self-market and self-publish and self-promote, you can go that way too. But it's important that you've developed the skills and the know-how to do that. So there's a place for traditional publishers. Absolutely. And having a traditional publisher does ease the process because it takes they're taking care of all the editing and the cover design and all of that kind of stuff. You don't have to do that. So it does take that pressure off. So there are benefits to both. Absolutely. Um, Self-publishing, everything is um everything is made so much more available for you. I didn't just rush out and become as a new author and get published on my own without any kind of preparation or education or experience in the industry. Like I say, initially we worked with traditional publishers, in fact, a few different publishers. And as those contracts ran out and we're looking at, okay, are we going to do a new edition? Are we going to uh, uh, rewrite the book? Are we going to continue with this book? Are we going to work with another publisher? If so, what's the relaunch going to look like for this book? As time goes on, we develop those skills. And so we were able to go it alone by around 2012. I think we started in the industry as a writer in 1999, and as a professional writer. And then in 2004, we had published our first book. So by 2012, we had developed enough skills to go it alone. And so as these contracts with various books came to their conclusion, we then, relaunched that book as a self-published book. I've held lots of different positions. I have been a book reviewer, staff writer, freelance writer, assignment writer, blogger. I have, taken dozens of courses and I've learned all the time from other writers, publishers, people in the industry, agents. And so I'm constantly improving skills and evolving with the industry, trying to keep up to the industry changes, office systems, all of these kinds of things. And, having come from running businesses in the past, we already had that business hat on. So today, Dave and I no longer need a traditional publisher. We work as a team. Dave does a lot of the technical stuff. I do a lot of the online marketing stuff, manuscript development. He develops ads, graphics, so we work as a team. We've been able to split up the activities. He does these things, I do these things, and that makes it a lot easier too than just being on your own. Um, so for myself, having to work with the only difference I have found when it comes to like selling books or working with any kind of market out there is when it comes to retail stores. So when it comes to retail stores or doing donations to, say, a fundraiser or offering our books as a prize to an event like the local parade will do like prizes for their participants and things like that. So anything like that where I'm going to be needing to ship my book to these people, I'll have to go in as an author into my account, order the book, have it at my price, and have that publisher send it directly to that person. Alternatively, I'm going to have about 25 books on hand at minimum of each book that I'm working with various retailers for. And that way, if, say, their book supply dwindles and they need a restock right away, I've got at least this buffer, in at home that I can give them some for now and place an order right away. And so I'll have to order at my author discount, and then I have a contract with that person that I'm then going to be dealing with and selling to, or having them sell as a fundraiser or whatever. And so, that it's a little bit different because I'm working with them directly as opposed to going to my publisher and saying, "Hey, I have this going on. Here's the person's contact," and they work with a publisher or the publisher works with them. So it's a little more hands-on, and you have to find a little bit more of a creative way of dealing with the business aspects. But other than that, once you know the industry and you know what's coming up, each book that you produce, it's like a formula that you follow. This step followed by that step followed by this step, and so you get used to it, and so you don't really need to have a traditional publisher anymore. Now, there are people who are able to work with larger traditional publishers who give contracts, like paid contracts. We're going to pay you for your book manuscript. That's great too, but then, and people are often trying to, they think that's like the golden ticket, the golden buzzer, and it is sort of. But then because you've gotten that advance, now you have to try to get enough sales to pay for that advance. It's like almost like debt with the publisher now. You're in debt with the publisher by that much, and you have to make sure that you sell that much or more. Otherwise, you're going to owe your publisher, right? So there are various aspects of working with traditional publishers depending on the level that you're working with. But if I didn't have a partner like Dave, I don't know that I would be an independent author. If I was an independent author without my partner, Dave, then I would have to outsource. I would have to find a way of outsourcing certain types of skills because I'm not willing to take on those aspects, those technical, intricate graphics and cover design and all of that. I'm not willing to take on those roles. So therefore I would have to outsource that. So those are some things to consider for yourself. You know, can you outsource? Can you bring in a partner to work with you on certain levels? If you're working with a co-author, can they take on certain roles? These are things to consider. If you're new, you definitely want to try to go with a publisher initially. Don't go out on your own as a new author and just start publishing books. I really wouldn't recommend that. Get your feet in the water, learn the industry, and then start producing books on your own after you've had some experience under your belt. Okay. Thank you for that question. I think it was a great question. Hopefully, my answer wasn't too long-winded. As I say, it could really result in a series of videos offering a whole bunch of tips. In fact, if you go into our book, Purple Snowflake Marketing, you'll find that we do have some information in this regard as well. So I do encourage you to check that out. Thanks again, everyone, for dropping into the Brummet Media channel. If you have a question, feel free to submit it to us. I'll do my best to answer it as soon as possible.